Hello and welcome to yet another episode on understanding one most important element in communication, and that is reading. I am Dr. Amita Kamath and I shall be taking you through different reading techniques in this video. You might have often heard people speaking that they do not find time to read. There can be two ways to interpret this. Either they are genuinely busy, really not finding time to read, or they might not like to read. On the other hand, we find that there are certain people who are so interested in reading that despite their busy schedules, they do find time to read a lot of books and lot of relevant materials. How do these bibliophiles find time, and how can these bibliophiles manage to read this stuff? This is because these people have inculcated, or they have been inculcating, certain reading techniques into their daily reading. And these reading techniques are broadly divided into two sections, as you can see. One is skimming and one is scanning. Skimming is a technique in reading in which the entire content is not read for the purpose of understanding, but the content is read for us to understand what the written matter is all about. We can understand the gist of the passage or the paragraph or the write-up that has been put up to us. Whereas in scanning, the gist has already been understood because of skimming. In scanning, there is a detailed reading of the written content to analyze what the write-up is all about. Skimming, for example, when you open a newspaper, when you read the headlines, when you read the leads, there is where you are skimming through that write-up for you to understand what is there in the news story that follows the headlines. But in scanning, when you are reading an article, in-depth article on some news which was there few days back, and there is a detailed write-up in the form of article, you not only read it for the purpose of skimming, but you go for details of the information provided. You analyze the information that has been provided, and that way of reading is called as scanning. Let us now practice these two techniques. The first technique, that is skimming, shall be done with the help of one unseen passage. I have selected one unseen passage for us to understand how a skimming is to be done. And when this unseen passage will flash in front of us, we will apply the skimming techniques, wherein the first line and the last line of the paragraph shall be read and the gist of the entire write-up shall be identified. Now, if you see, this is an unseen passage on. Now, here the question is, what is the passage about? The moment we read the first line of this paragraph, that is, educating boys and girls together has always been an important and stressful issue. The moment we read the first sentence in this paragraph, we try to get that it has something to do with boys and girls learning together. Next paragraph, first line, if you read, so this says that supporters of co-education feel that boys and girls are different. So if we see this sentence again, it is validating the point that it has something to do with boys and girls studying together. Now if we check for this, again another sentence in the third paragraph, we see educating boys and girls together helps them understand and mutually respect each other. So if we read the first and last sentence, we can easily now answer this question, saying that we can very well understand that this is the passage about co-education, because in every paragraph you see references of boys and girls coming together and studying. Okay, this is how we skim with the help of skimming technique. Now moving to the next question. Are all parents in support of co-education? This is the next question. Again, the same skimming technique remains same, wherein you have to read the first sentence of the paragraph and the last sentence of the paragraph for you to get an answer to the question for skimming. Now, are all parents in support of co-education? Here immediately you can see the last sentence of this paragraph itself is the answer to this question. Some parents are not in favor of a co-educational system as they feel that the presence of the opposite gender distracts the attention of students and prevents them from concentrating on studies. So that can very well become our answer, saying that no, some parents do not support co-education as they feel the presence of opposite gender may lead to distraction. Okay. Now we have practiced skimming and technique of skimming, let us move on to understanding how scanning is done. Okay, we will keep the same unseen passage for us to understand the difference between skimming and scanning practice. Okay, now I have kept the same unseen passage in front of us, and now let us find out what is the question in relation to scanning technique. Find words from the passage that means traditional, paying attention, vital and unfairness. Now if you look at this question very carefully, you will understand that these are the words which require your understanding on how much do you know about these words being used in your day-to-day vocabulary. Okay, so you will have to find a word which will mean that it is traditional. You will have to find a word which will mean paying attention to. You will have to find a word from the passage which will mean what is vital. So you will have to be aware about certain meanings and synonyms of words of which are getting reflected into the questions which are being asked. Okay, so the moment you see that you have to find a word similar to the word traditional, you will have to start finding the word in the passage with an intention now to understand the passage and the words according to the demand that has been made into the question. And that is the reason why the meaning of traditional is conservative, and we have very well found the word conservative here in the passage. Paying attention, focusing, concentrating, that is what is the meaning of this word. That's the reason why we could locate where concentrating is here against this word. Same way for vital and unfairness, we have found that these words have been used here. Vital, the synonym of vital is crucial or important. Important is not a word used here, so that's the reason why crucial becomes here the answer to this word. And again, unfairness is what is the answer. Unfairness, the bias is the answer to this word, and hence we could attempt the answers using the technique of scanning. So this is how scanning is done, wherein you can now very well see the difference between these two techniques, where in scanning we have tried to analyze the paragraph after reading the content, and then we could find the answers here based on what the information is given. Based on that, even if we do not know the meaning, we can very well find that this may be the word somewhere similar to what we are looking for. Okay, so this is how scanning is done in reading. Okay, after having understood these two techniques in detail, you now will have to solve a reading exercise which is provided in the description box. Thank you so much.